Evening, boys.
Evening, Sally.
Welcome to The Chatting, your local pubcast. I'm Rob.
I'm Kirk.
I'm Mark.
And I'm the other Mark. 3 pints, Sally. And what are you having?
I'll have a Moscow Mule.
Cheers. I'll fetch him over.
Evening, boys. How we doing?
Evening, Mark. Evening, Mark.
You all right?
I'm all right, you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, yeah. I've got a strange fact for you that I found out this week.
Oh.
Right, believe it or not, right, all crisps go out of date on a Saturday.
What?
Yeah, honestly, seriously.
On the same Saturday?
Yeah. Go
Rock-
get some crisps for bar.
Sally, get some of them crisps here.
Honestly, seriously.
Well, hold on a minute. So
Yeah.
you mean on a Saturday or as of next Saturday we can never have crisps again?
Yeah, I don't mean they all go out on a day on like just one single Saturday a year. No, the date on crisps. So let's say, I don't know, 12th of May or whatever. That'll be a Saturday. Or
Right. Oh,
Is it,
he's not having it, although he's got some crisps.
30th of March, 24.
yeah. What date's that? Let's check.
Well, it's
Yeah.
gone, but it were a Saturday.
It was a Saturday, yeah.
It was a Saturday, yeah.
way.
Well, they won't
Yeah,
sling. Sally, they won't
I
sling.
told you.
6th of April, 24. They won't sling in the
She needs to do some stock taking.
Are they selling dodgy crisps on this one?
rotation's not very good in here, Sal.
Hold on. We're on 6th of April.
Is that
What is it,
that a
Mark?
Saturday?
It's a Saturday.
18th of May.
Hang on. 18th of May. Hang on, where's May gone? That's a Saturday.
Oh my
My
gosh.
God.
I'm not making this up, man. I'm sure our listeners are checking this out.
You're like, what's his name? Greg off at telly in the
Greg?
factory.
Greg
Greg.
Greg Wallace.
Greg
yeah.
Wallace.
So why does he eat Chris?
Probably. When is it Walker's factory?
So what is there a reason why?
I don't know. I just found it out. I don't know why.
What? So you haven't even looked at why?
No.
Well, I need to know why.
Well, I'm going to find out why. This has blown my mind.
It blew my mind. That's why I had to share it with you guys.
I mean, is it just because they've just decided that when they make a date for when Chris go out of date, it's always going to be a
And is
Saturday?
that the highlight of your week?
Well, you were. Hang on a minute. You were checking the Chris. I weren't.
Yeah, because he likes proving people wrong.
Is that really the best you've got for this week? I can't believe it. I mean,
I think that's quite good.
well, I saw something the other day on social media, and I'm thinking I'm getting really excited because I know I keep talking about it, and I'm doing people's head in now. But I really think there's an Oasis reunion on the cards.
Oh
my
God!
days.
No,
Oasis.
but it's not going to happen. I don't think.
Well, Noel Gallagher has helped design one of Man City's shirts for next year to tie in with the 30th anniversary of What's the Story. And why?
The story is they're not getting back together.
Well, you said that. Why is this Oasis? You know, and he said Oasis to lad. Why would they be? It's bubbling away.
Because he still earns him money.
Yeah, because he's running out of money.
Get out with it. I'm telling you, it's happening.
Well, listen, I hope it does for you because I know you're a big Oasis fan. But I can't see them two getting. I just can't see them getting back together.
I think I genuinely think that if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. I get what you're saying about the 30th anniversary or whatever, but I genuinely think that you just.
You know what?
You're stuck in the 90s.
I was just about to say, he's stuck in the 90s.
He's trying to relive his 90s.
I love it. I wish I were stuck in 90s.
I mean,
Smith's stuck
90s
in-
was an era, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The best decade.
Yeah,
It was for me because that was for us. It was like our coming of age decade, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we're about 40.
Not mine.
weren't it?
Yeah, not yours.
80s weren't best for me. But listen, I'll go with 90s because I know you're 90s. But yeah, 90s
They
is good.
revolutionised hip surgery.
And I'm still on waiting list.
But
90s are good.
it were. I mean, it's a bit scary about how long ago it was, though.
Not half.
Well,
30 years was that the,
I'm going to say, only 10 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I know when people turn around and say like, 20 years ago, I instantly think to myself, 80s.
Yeah.
You know, when people
Yeah.
talk about. But when you think that 20 years ago was 2004.
Yeah.
You know, which means that you are talking
scary.
going back to nearly 30 years ago.
I
It
think
was the
that's
90s.
why as well why it seems so nostalgic, the 90s, because I read and I'm saying this as well, I'm being all intellectual. I read it
There's
somewhere.
no danger there, Rob, don't worry.
I read it somewhere where it said that in periods of 30 years is where something goes from being nostalgic to interesting.
Right.
You know, like a period of time becomes not just, oh yeah, do you remember when? 30 years is that moment where everyone goes, oh yeah, do you remember?
Yeah.
See, I can't see the noughties ever being interesting.
They do. Yeah, they seem a bit bland, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, you think that, but I thought that about 90s when I were in the 90s.
Now what?
But I did. I thought there's not much happening in.
What?
Well, there was, but when as your years go on,
Do you know there were a band called Oasis in 90s? Did you know that?
No.
Mark will tell you all about them.
Please
Oh,
don't.
they're getting back together, aren't they?
I'll give over. Don't start
Don't
that.
start
Sorry,
him
Mark,
off
what
again.
you were saying.
No, but you think of that about. It's a bit like 20s or whatever. You think, well, what's happening? But you bet your bottom dollar in 40 years' time, me and Mark and whatever we'll be DJing 20s nights.
What, he thought in 20...
What's your time?
Well, I will be.
How do you turn this on?
In 40 years' time, you think you're still going to be DJing?
Yeah.
Wow.
What? Why not?
Wow.
You won't
wow.
have finished sorting your garage out in 40 years.
I've got a mortgage to pay. I'll still be DJing.
If you don't get on treadmill, you won't be alive in 40 years.
I know when you speak to people of different generations, obviously they always think that their coming of age generation it was the best decade and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You know, but the 90s had so much and so much change throughout the 90s. Do you not think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we didn't have internet, did we? 90s?
No,
Or phones?
that's when the internet came about.
Yeah.
6K modems,
Properly.
dial-up tone, yeah,
Oh,
AOL.
oh God, yeah. You
When
used to
you'd go
unplug
onto
phone.
AOL, wouldn't you?
You used to have
Yeah,
to
AOL.
unplug phone, wouldn't you? Nobody could ring you.
Well, no,
because we didn't have mobiles.
I think
Yeah.
if somebody picked the phone up while you were on internet, it cut your internet off.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he
and
did.
that, you know, dial up and
Yeah.
Could you
crazy.
hear them through modem? I'm sure if someone picked the phone up and talked into the phone, you could hear it. You know the little speaker that was on the modem that made all the...
Really? Yeah,
I'd love 10 minutes in your head,
Yeah,
Rob.
you could actually hear people talking.
yeah, that were just people talking in your head. Rob.
But if that's
Yeah,
it sounds. Silly things like phone boxes. You know, putting money in phone boxes.
Yeah.
Do you know, and even actually, if you remember, when phone boxes used to have like phone books in
Yeah, they
in
did.
them.
Yeah, they did.
Phone books.
Yeah.
And used to use dial back. What were it called? Where you could ring someone and charge back
were
and
it,
get
or
them to
something.
charge you.
Yeah.
But I remember, obviously talking about phones and before mobile phones, I had a pager.
Yeah.
I didn't know you used to be a doctor.
Yeah, pager.
God help us.
I did. that was just Rachel, my mum. Just
all
decided
you used
that
it for?
she needed to contact me, so she bought me a pager. And I carried the pager with me everywhere. And if it went off, I had to find a public phone box and phone her.
Yeah.
I used to remember we had pages
joking.
we had pages in hotel, and obviously as a duty manager or whatever, you'd get paged for like if the pre-fire alarm were going off or if a customer needed to speak to you, and that was quite funny because we invented our own codes and stuff. So if I used to look at it and it were like 911 or something like that, all it meant was meet out back for a fag.
Really important stuff, yeah.
And you were probably 25. I was 12.
Yeah.
I had a pager at 12 so that they
Wow.
could keep track on me. I
They
mean,
used to have
you can't
fax
blame
machines
them.
and stuff, didn't they?
They
I
had
mean,
what?
fax machines.
Fax machines, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
used to work in an office, and we used to have to like fax documents to solicitors. No email, none of that. So I had to type on a typewriter, and
I
then
had to
fax it.
type
on a
That's what I'm saying.
typewriter.
It. Bearing in mind, this is only 90s.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. It. Anybody listening will go, well, that's the 60s, but no, 90s. I was using a typewriter, type it out, and then fax. And then when we had presentations in office, they used to, projectors, we'd have a OHP.
OHP.
Now,
Remember-
do you know what OHP is? You
Yeah,
guys?
yeah, I know,
Kurt,
yeah,
do you know
OHP.
Yeah.
No.
overhead projector.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I
yeah,
used to like put laminate,
Like laminate things
laminate
on.
sheets on.
Yeah.
I used to beam it up on the glass and onto. I mean, what's all that about?
Yeah.
That's only
Slide it
90s.
paper off, slide it next one
Yeah.
And they used
Well,
to
what
cover
about
things up because they didn't
when-
want you to see it. They used to have a piece of paper on
When
it.
you were at school and the teacher used to make you feel like you were a star pupil, you go and right, you're the TV monitor. You go off and you'd fetch this half-a-ton TV on a trolley.
Yeah.
You're thinking that you're special, but it's not. It's slave labour. You're dragging this TV, hoping that it don't fall off this trolley and smash a great big hole in the floor.
Or to watch Kez.
All to watch.
Kez again.
20 minutes of Kez before break time.
Come on, Kez.
But, I mean, school. I mean, obviously, I've got kids at school age and stuff like that now, and I listen to them talk about school, and it's just so different. It is just so different how they how they run the lessons or how they are in school. The way that I wouldn't. You couldn't pay me enough money to be a teacher.
I remember being at school and it was French and there were a kid in our class and he were quite boisterous, and I remember the French teacher throwing the blackboard rubber at him
Was it Rob by any chance?
No, he threw it and it hit the wall behind him. Like, he literally just moved in time and it hit the wall. Could you imagine if he did that to a kid now?
Yeah.
Do you know what? He'd be all over BBC, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What about youth clubs?
Oh, God.
Can you remember that smell of hot dogs and onions? Do you know what I mean? And you were like, oh yeah, you were there with your dad's aftershave on and your
dad's aftershave?
Did you go to Old Hall one, or did you go to one more local round here?
Well, there were one at local school, or there were OAPO, or there were old.
Or there were one that we'd run.
There were one that we run as we got a bit older.
Which everybody else were like enjoying themselves or whatever, and there's me and Mark carrying his speakers and stuff and DJ stuff in a wheelbarrow.
Wheelbarrow?
In a wheelbarrow.
With that later on, me and Lee Bamford used to DJ at Old Hall. We were up at Sports Hall.
Oh, in Sports Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there'd always be somebody outside on 2020.
Mad Dog.
Is that
Yeah.
20, the bus?
No. No, it was like some sort of a... What were it? Like a spirit liquor...
A vodka mix, MD 2020,
Mad Dog 2020.
MD, yeah.
Okay, it was like paint stripper.
What other,
There was some,
Right, okay.
somebody
what other
else...
drinks? What other drinks? There were White Lightning cider.
Oh,
I mean, I wouldn't know any of this. I didn't drink till I was 18.
Well, I remember drinks being, what, £3.40 in my 90s?
Yeah, if anyone that don't get that joke, listen to episode 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were Pulse cider,
Pulse and cocktails.
White Lightning was
Oh, I mean, it was just dreadful, wasn't it?
It's not alcoholic, but that 90s was the year of Sunny D, weren't it? Do you remember when kids were drinking Sunny D and turning yellow?
Can you remember them? Can you remember Pop-Tarts?
Pop-Tarts.
You bite into them and then your face would just dissolve.
Well, Pop-Tarts were an American
They
thing in
got
the
banned.
80s, weren't they? And then it was the 90s they came over here.
They got banned.
Jam
Did they?
ones did,
Yeah.
so burning people.
Can you not buy a pop? Seriously,
They banned them and shell suits because
can't-
people was like spontaneously combusting in front of a gas fire.
Shell
You
suits.
can't buy Pop-Tarts now
You
'cause-
can buy Pop-Tarts now.
You can get them again now, yeah, but
Yeah.
they
But
weren't
banned
doing
them.
like a thing because, yeah.
I tell you what, chocolate bar from 90s that you remember, Taz bar.
Taz bar.
Taz. Do you remember little Taz's?
Taz.
Are they like Freddos?
Yeah, like Freddos, yeah, but,
right,
but
yeah,
before
yeah.
Freddos were Taz bars.
I don't remember them.
I don't remember
Or randomly when you got Tazos in crisps. Do you remember Tazos?
What are you talking about?
Tazos in crisps. They were like they've got to have been the best thing that you could ever get in a packet of crisps. But to this day, I have no idea what you were meant to do with them.
Did you check
Are
the
they them
date on
things
them?
that had like notches in
Yes,
around the edge? And,
yeah.
and like you almost felt as though
Yeah.
you needed to join them together, but they didn't really do
absolutely,
anything.
They didn't join, yeah. And Walkers, I'm sure it was Walkers, they must have ran it for about 4 years. And they
remember
become
it.
collector's items,
Yeah.
Star Wars and all sorts they did.
But did you check the date on them?
Yeah,
No, I
yeah,
didn't.
they were there on a Saturday.
No, I didn't.
Did you ever used to do football stickers?
Oh, yeah.
Swap, got,
Panini,
swap, got.
Panini.
Oh, you've got a shiny. You used to get the shiny
Yeah.
cards.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
There were
the
stickers, there were Panini,
Sticker
weren't there?
books, of
There's a
course.
pin-
Yeah.
what they-
Honestly.
what they
You
pin-
got, swap, got.
Yeah.
I have a story about this.
Yeah, there's, yeah.
So, going back at 90s, my auntie was seeing a savoury character. And
Savoury character.
he
what?
once came round to my grandma's
It smelled like
Wait.
salt and vinegar.
with about 3 bags full of boxes of the FIFA cards. There must have been 6 or 7 boxes. I mean,
Oh,
how
okay.
many packets do you get in a box? And I'm not joking yet. I had them under my bed because he said to me, "Can't tell your mum or dad." So I'd got like 6 or 7
An
boxes of
accessory
these
to
FIFA
burglary.
cards, and obviously, me, who don't watch an ounce of football and never has in his life, they were wasted on me. But I'll put money on. I bet I could have completed them books 3 times over. and I never even
you not sell
realised the
them?
worth of them. You know how much
Did
they're
you not
worth
try
now?
selling
Oh,
them?
I know some of them are worth,
Yeah.
worth
And
stupid.
And what have you
money.
done? Stuck some all to your bedroom wall?
The inside of the bed was plastered with these FIFA stickers. I didn't know who they were.
So you didn't try selling them or anything?
I'm not, mate.
No?
No, I were about 8 year old. It literally
and you-
must have been 1990.
And you weren't thinking about making... I mean, I was selling chocolates and stuff when I was 8
Well,
years
no,
old
you-
in school.
Well,
I was a
well,
proper
yeah. I
entrepreneur.
thought it was a 1990. I was like, yeah, you were
Yeah.
in your 30s.
Well, yeah, well,
Selling chocolates to children.
I were 8.
yeah, thanks.
What about Sabutio though? Think it's over football.
what a game.
Did you have Sabutio?
Yes.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
My dad had it from being a kid, so his set was like, it was quite a well-established Sabutio set, but you know, it's at a point where you were like, Dad, let's play Sabutio, and you could see him sweating. Because it weren't just for him. That Subbuteo was his
stand
set.
built
They
and
got
everything
everything.
with the crowd
yeah.
floodlights.
Floodlights,
And you
yeah,
open box
yeah.
up and everything had been immaculately folded
The
and
cloth
kept.
had been ironed.
Yeah, even the net had been folded. And so you opened it up and you could see him sweating, like thinking, "Don't ruin me." Subbuteo
I would
set."
quite happily play a game of Subbuteo right now. mate.
Yes.
I was never very good at it though.
Well, I think I was all right.
Can you remember the rules? Was it something
Flick
like you
it.
had 3 touches or something?
Yeah,
You only had
there
3
were rules to it. I don't
When
think
you
people
flicked it, you
followed
had
it.
to hit the ball first, but you only had 3 moves, and then it was your opponent's turn.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And if you hit a player first, it would be a free kick.
Yeah.
And stuff like. But
What were but when could you touch your goalkeeper? Just any time.
Oh, what are you doing? Touching your goalkeeper?
Exactly. He had that. He had like a stick sticking out of his back, didn't it?
I just think it's when they were going to have a shot, weren't it? When they were going to have a shot on goal.
Yeah.
But I love Subbuteos. What other games?
Pogs.
Pogs. I remember Pogs.
Do you remember Pogs?
No.
Just a plastic
disc.
disc, and you used to have to chuck them and hit
And, like,
the
turn
other players and
the
flip
other
it
one
over,
over,
and
innit?
then you won it. Bit like playing marbles, but in a different way.
Yeah.
No
Or
idea what you're
another
talking
one,
about.
Tamagotchis.
Yeah,
They were
Tamagotchis.
such a craze.
my wife at the time had one of them.
Really?
I know, I said wife. I mean,
Wife in the
Wow.
90s.
I know. She had one. Are
We're
you
all
laughing
talking
'cause-
about drinking cider at park. And
Are you laughing because I've got a wife at 90s, or are you laughing that she got a tag?
You've got a
got a-
wife in her 90s.
No, I didn't go for old girls.
No, definitely not. But they've made a bit of a comeback, haven't they, Tamagotchis?
I think they have.
Yeah.
They made a bit of a comeback,
They're a bit more sophisticated than they were, though.
Yeah, but you can get some still that are just exactly
Like
the same.
retro, proper retro.
retro ones, exactly the same.
Thing is, though, they'll cost more than they did back in 90s.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
And it's the same technology.
And they'll still die on you. You'll feed it and whatever.
They made a comeback as well, didn't they? Furbies.
yeah,
Can you remember
Furbies,
Furbies?
Yeah.
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 Back
They
then,
like developed characters as they went on, didn't they?
That to us was AI.
Yeah.
That was our version of AI.
Yeah, we knew somebody who had one. We put it in a freezer.
Yeah. What other toys were they?
Well,
90s?
one thing I remember that wasn't a toy, but it was a game, and it was the back end of the 90s. Snake on your Nokia
Oh,
phone.
your Nokia
Oh, way up.
3310.
God, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
addicted to that. I was amazing at that. The thing about the 90s I remember more because it was a time when we were at school. It was the TV programs. The kids, we come home from school and you put the TV on and you got Chucklevision.
Well, hold that thought. I've got a bit of a quiz for us.
Oh, I like a quiz.
A 90s quiz or just a general
a
one?
90s
I
theme,
like a quiz.
TV theme tune quiz.
Oh, okay.
I like this.
All right.
Right
so,
up my
Are we
bag,
just shouting out? Or are we going round table, or how are we doing it?
So, well, we could just shout out. We could have some fun with it.
Okay.
But I'll play some
I like it.
some intro theme tunes.
Something tells me Chucklevision's coming.
Well,
One gives it away when it starts. Chucklevision.
To me, to you.
okay. So first one. We'll start off really easy.
Okay.
There's a story all about how my life
Fresh Prince of
got
Bel-Air.
Oh, yeah,
turned
Fresh
upside down.
Fresh
I'd like
Prince
to
of
take
Bel-Air.
a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel Air.
Can you do the rap?
About 10 seconds of it.
Ready?
All of us.
In
West Philadelphia, born and raised in the playground is where I spend most of my days.
Chilling out, relaxing, and shooting some meatball outside school.
When a couple of guys, they were up to no good, started making trouble in the neighborhood. They got in one little fight and my mom got scared. Said you're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air.
Right, I've got another one. Mark, you look lost then.
I just don't know theme.
All
I
right,
know
you
the
know
theme
what Fresh
tune,
Prince
but
is then?
yes, but I don't know the words because I were too busy
I thought
working.
you were going to say,
I were
I've
too
never
busy
heard of
working
it.
that mine.
Okay, next one.
Bicomitis from Mars.
I don't think I know
Obviously
this
not.
one.
Thing is with theme tunes, they always end up singing it at some point, don't they?
Is this?
I know it.
I don't know this at all.
So,
Oh,
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh,
I
didn't
see.
know
Never
it.
watched
I
it.
didn't know it. I was thinking
Never
of
watched
something
it.
else.
See, for me, 90s. I'm more. I think more at younger age when I was in 90s.
Can you? Right, I'm going to do I'm going to do the flip. So I'm going to sing you a little bit, and I'm not very good at singing, obviously. And you've got to guess what the program's called. I can't remember what it's called, the program, but I will do if you remember.
have
it.
you finished your quiz?
No,
Right.
you course you haven't.
Would you like to swing on a star? Oh, carry movies home in a jar. Oh,
I don't know
Carry
that.
movies home in a jar.
yeah.
Carry movies.
And it was a young girl. Her dad, I think he really like a wizard or something, but he weren't there obviously. But I don't know if he died but he like used to talk to us through like a crystal ball. She had a talking cat.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
No,
It sounds like that.
no, it's
Well,
not.
the theme tune weren't that.
It's not.
Mork and Mindy.
No, that's Mark calling us and coming Orson.
I'm assuming you know the answer.
No. I would. This is what I was saying. I would. If somebody said it, I'd go, yes.
He knows the theme tune, but he doesn't.
I'm going to Google it. I'm going to Google it.
Google it.
Would you like to... Great theme tune. And I used to really enjoy watching it.
I know it, but I don't know. I can't.
Um,
We'll say it and we'll go, oh, yeah. Come on, what is it then?
Here we go.
Here we
you
go.
ready?
Are we ready?
Out of This World.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, I do know it, yeah, but I wouldn't. I don't. I mean, and I'm not nothing to do with your singing, mate. Your singing were amazing. It was
it?
just I just don't recognise it.
It says here, Out of This World is an American fantasy sitcom about a teenage girl who is half alien. I didn't know she was half alien. Given
didn't
her
watch it?
unique superhuman powers, and it first aired in 1987 and ended in 91. But I think
We're going to have to
they
cut
did
him off
reruns.
because he'll end up telling us the whole
He will,
series,
he
will.
the whole program, the whole synopsis.
Give us next one.
Carry on with
You've
your
got
quiz.
another one.
Go on. Oh, this is not an This is a Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I know the song.
Is it like
This is,
Galaxy Ripple or something like that, or Flake?
I'm sure this is Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I reckon.
It's a theme tune.
Well done, Mark. Twin Peaks.
Yeah. Do you know what?
I thought it was an ad.
Okay, so you want another one?
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
We've only done 2.
We've done 3 actually.
I mean, you're not giving us any easy ones here, are you?
Twin Peaks are easy. Is this like? It sounds like an American cop show.
I don't know that one at all.
It's not British Empire, is it?
No?
No.
Any ideas?
Oh, can you give it? Can you give
No.
us a clue? Of,
Yeah.
of,
Is it
of
British?
like, is it early
yeah,
90s?
yeah, you
or-
won't know it, I don't think.
Is
Well,
it-
you'll know the programme, but I don't think
Is it
think
British
anyone will have
American?
watched it.
I like how you played as a theme tune that you think none of us have watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not supposed to be easy, Rob, is it?
Boy Meets World.
Oh, and I didn't know it.
I wouldn't have got that.
Okay, another one?
Yeah.
Saved by the Bell.
That was my all-time favourite, that.
Mate,
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And is it not
Zach.
Zach's the blonde one? Isn't it?
That's right.
Who's the comedy one? Zeke.
Well, he's died
He
now.
died, didn't he?
He has, yeah.
Z.
Screech.
Screech. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. I loved Saved by the Bell.
It's all right.
Never watched it.
Saved by the Bell. Next one,
Absolutely
Kirk.
brilliant.
Next one?
Yeah. X-Files.
Just about to say X-Files.
TV nerd, you, Rob, aren't you?
Because actually, that tune actually made it into top 40.
Did it?
Yeah. People bought it as a song and played it. Yeah, seriously.
I mean, I can
It's by-
imagine there's got to be
it's
some
by,
rave versions of that.
Does it say it's by Mark Snow?
No, it doesn't say.
That was the remix, the Mark Snow.
It was.
Yeah.
Do you want another one?
Yeah.
Yeah, one for the road. It's bad, you know the song and you can't think of it.
I don't even think I know it.
Do you think we'll know this one?
Do you know what I thought? I thought Mark might know.
Me?
Yeah. I thought you might
What,
have
'cause
known
I'm
that
old?
one. Yeah.
No.
Seinfeld.
I would have been miles
No.
off.
Well, I
wouldn't
didn't.
have
I
known
didn't
that.
watch it. I didn't. So.
Well, I think you were rubbish.
I thought. I think the ones that I was thinking of were a little bit more like. Do you remember? Maid Marian?
Yes.
Yes.
And Merry Men.
Yes.
And the Merry Men, yeah.
Class.
And that was funny.
We,
That.
Tony, what's his
Yeah.
name? He played the.
Oh no, that's not who I'm thinking of.
Tony.
yeah, Tony.
You know, Tony
Oh,
down there.
big
Tony.
Tony.
Big Tony.
Big Tony. Oh, yeah, Big
He
Tony.
played the sheriff of Nottingham.
No, I don't know.
What was his name? Tony.
I've
Tony,
no idea
Tony.
what you're talking
He
about.
played Baldrick.
Oh,
Robinson.
Tony Robinson.
Tony Robinson.
Yes. Yeah. Do you remember Knightmare?
Nightmare.
Yeah. I really wanted to be on that program
Did you?
as a
Nightmare.
kid.
Nightmare
Do
was the one.
do you mean Knight Rider?
No, Nightmare. It was
No,
a program
Nightmare.
where they were like in a CGI world, but someone else was telling them where to go. They got
You had to wear a helmet.
No, I don't remember. How old were you guys?
3
Like,
steps
about 10 or
forward.
something in 90s?
Yeah, we would have been. This was early 90s.
See, I was nightclubbing.
definitely.
I weren't watching kids stuff.
Well, no,
There
I
were some
remember.
items on the table on your left-hand side.
Yeah.
You know, that
Yeah.
sort of stuff, wasn't it?
It was quite cutting edge for its time, in
It
all
were.
fairness, when you think
I
about
tell you
it.
what, it'd be traumatising if they put it on today for some kids.
Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
tell you what would be more traumatising, Bodger and Badger.
Need a
I
trigger
love
warning.
Bodger and Badger.
I did as well. I thought it was great.
Mashed potato. And
You remember that too much. The one that stands out for me, the back end of the 90s, is Friends. Because I really like Friends.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think we all remember Friends.
It's carried
don't
on
we?
as
Yeah.
well, hasn't it? Because for me, Friends is a bit of a comfort TV show. It almost like it takes you back to a time where you feel
Yeah.
safe. And I imagine depends what you watch at the time. A little bit like Simpsons. You know, things that you watched when you were young and that you see that as a safe time or a comfort time.
Yeah.
And you watch it back and you go, I remember these times when you were just
Yeah, but
no worries.
But it's also timeless. I mean, my daughter,
Yeah.
she's 14 years old, and she's watched it all back to back.
Well,
She
he
absolutely
finds a
loves
new
it.
generation,
Of
doesn't he?
course.
And they
Yeah.
start watching it, going, "Oh, what's this?"
And
it's-
that's how you know when someone's written some really, really good, solid TV,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's just timeless. It stretches across generation after generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never really watched. I've seen the odd episode of Friends, but the TV. I mean, I used to love things like Quantum Leap. Oh, that word,
great. That were brilliant.
The end
that.
of every episode, you just look in the mirror. Oh man!
Do you know what? I've never watched it.
What? Have you not?
Yeah, no.
And they've re-brought it out.
Have
The
they?
new series.
I've never watched it.
Do you know? I can't say it's terrible. I watched the first episode,
Is it?
and obviously it was obviously just starting out. I weren't prepared to give it.
It's
any
not aged
more.
well, is it? Is that what you're saying?
Not really. Yeah, I mean they've tried to modernise it.
What's
The
it on,
effects- Yeah, I don't know what it's on actually, but it's not horrendous. It might be something that you might like to watch that you just in background, but it's not special. It's not what it used to be.
I always have a cartoon in my head, which was my favourite cartoons. Now, I'll be honest here, it could have been like the late 80s here rather than early 90s, but it could have spanned. And every time I bring it up, not many people remember it, and I was beginning to think whether it was all in my head, but it's really not. It was a real thing. And that was a cartoon called Brave Star.
Yes.
Yes.
You remember it?
Yes.
I remember it.
No.
So can you tell me his powers? Can you remember his powers? So he was a sheriff, yeah?
Yeah.
He was a sheriff, and he had...
Didn't he turn into a lion?
Go on,
Did he
you're
turn
on.
into a lion or
No.
a bear or some? Oh,
So
what
he
was
had-
it now? Oh, it was one of each, wasn't it? It was the speed of something, the strength of something, and the
Exact strength of the bear,
yeah,
speed of the puma,
Puma.
eyes of a hawk,
Yeah.
I think ears of a wolf.
Yeah, I can't remember it that much. That
And
well.
did- and
I
did
do
he-
remember it.
I didn't watch it, but did he look like that? Had he got ears like a wolf? Because I've not seen it.
No.
What's-
So he was a sheriff. He was a sheriff, but like he'd have special. So he'd go if he needed to be strong. He'd strength of the bear, and he'd still be the same person, but he'd have the strength of a bear.
okay.
So I loved it.
I've never
it just
seen-
sticks in my head.
no idea.
But the amount of people that I talk to about it, sometimes they look at me as though I've got two heads.
Well, like I'm looking at you now.
Yeah, pretty much.
For the benefit of the tape.
What was your style like in the 90s?
Dreadful.
You know, like
Yes. Why do you want your hair cutting? I want curtains.
Curtains,
What?
curtains, and undercut.
Undercut.
well, I had my hair frosted.
Frosted.
You remember you used to have
You mean-
white
you mean-
tips on your
Oh,
hair?
when you put a cap on and they used to bleach
yeah.
it.
Yeah, you
and
used to
had
bleach
white,
your
white
balls.
tips
Yeah.
on your hair. That was
I
the
actually bleached all my hair,
Did
and it went bright yellow.
you're like Eminem.
No, I look more like Bart Simpson.
I've got a photo.
I need to see that.
Got a photo.
Hey Mark, did you have hair then?
Yeah, he's going to say I had hair like
I was
Ray
born with no
Parlour.
hair and I've never had hair. No, of course I had hair in the 90s. Yeah.
And what style was it in?
Def Leppard.
Similar to Mark's and yours. Not like Kirk's.
What, now or then?
No, I ain't got any hair now. No, back in the 90s I had it like that.
What, like, sorry, in the 90s you had it how they've got it now?
Yes.
Or in the 90s you had it in curtains like they
No,
did?
I never had curtains. I had
Right.
like hair what it is now because I'm quite.
Well, you were too cool.
I'm quite modern.
Too
Oh
cool.
no, I had proper bowl basin cut.
Yeah.
Where they genuinely put a basin on your head and then cut round
Cut
it.
round it.
Who were doing that?
In
Your
the
mum?
hairdressers.
Oh, the hairdressers were doing it.
Yeah, that's how they got the lines. They just literally put the ball.
I think you may have been
just-
better off going to a different
Then
hairdresser.
they just went
Hang
round
on,
with shit.
hang on,
I know where he went to. He went to Mad Jeff's.
And you used to pay for that.
Yeah, I can.
And you used to pay for that.
Yeah.
Well, like a
Because
training
then-
course or something.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Why wouldn't you? Why try and work out? You just put a ball on your head, and
Because
and
it looks
just
like you've had
literally
a
go
ball on
around.
your head and you-
yeah,
yeah,
it was a solid indentation in your head, like you got an helmet on.
But you must have looked like a right idiot.
Helmet head.
I owned shell suits. I did
No.
wear a shell suit.
No.
Global hyper t-shirts.
The
Oh,
global,
yeah.
The global- global hyper t-shirts they were called.
Yeah, they
weren't
were hyper technical.
and they got
yeah.
wet.
They
Hyper-technical,
change,
they
they change colour when
put
they.
your hand on them and they change colour. Or when you're sweating under your arms and it just changed colour.
I didn't have them. I had Naf Naf.
Oh, yeah, Naf Naf. That was about the same time as Sweater Shop, weren't it?
Yeah.
Naff, naff.
Yeah, Naf Naf. And I went into a shop, I think it was, I want to say Urban Outfitters in Meadowhall a few weeks ago, and they've got Naf Naf jumpers back in.
Really?
Yeah. Obviously, they cost an absolute fortune.
I bet they've not got Eclipse t-shirts with Smarties on. Can you remember Eclipse?
Well,
Yeah.
talking about clothes, what was that shop? I think it was 90s. Wasn't it like something of colour? And they used to have quite controversial posts.
Benetton.
Benetton, yeah. Benetton.
Benetton colour.
Benetton of colour. I know
Yeah.
that's where you used to buy these shirts. But they don't exist anymore in them shops, do they?
No, I don't think so.
I don't, because they were really controversial with the posters, weren't they?
Yeah.
Used to do really controversial stuff. Back then, I mean, they won't be classed as controversial now, but back then,
But
I remember.
anything like Kurt was just saying, if you find anything now that like Sweatshop, was it Sweatshop? Sweater Shop?
Sweater shop.
Yeah,
Yeah, sweatshop.
You'll find that, I think you'll find them in
illegal
India.
factory with people getting slave
I think
driven.
you'll find that sheen.
But Sweater Shop jumpers now, they sell for double the price than what they sold for
Yeah.
back then. You know, in all these, I don't know what you call them, nostalgia.
Retro.
Retro shops.
Retro.
Yeah,
It's like
they-
classic football shirts, isn't it? The collector's items.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So obviously, what was the 90s like for you then, Mark? Because obviously we're talking about it from, we were quite young still in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, all joking aside, you know, we can remember school or, you know, this or other. But for you was a little bit more grown up, were you? I mean, you've just said you had a wife in the 90s. So
Yeah. I mean, later on in the 90s, yeah. I mean, I was busy DJing. I mean, I was obviously busy working at the bank. I was married. Yeah, I mean, it just flew by, really.
How
for
old
me.
were you, mate? Like, let's
what?
say 95, middle.
1995, I would have been 35.
Wow.
Would I have been 35?
no.
No, 25.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
I know I'm old, but not that old.
That was
No,
30 years ago.
yeah, 25. Yeah, 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're 25.
And did you, obviously music was a big thing in the 90s, obviously, and it really changed throughout the 90s, didn't it? So
Yeah.
if you was DJing through that time, did you feel that change and stuff like that?
Yeah. You do. I mean, DJing then were much easier, should we say, than it is now. And the music that I played then were completely different, because obviously half the music I play now half the music I played then weren't out when I'm playing music now. Does that make sense?
Not
No.
really.
It's quite the opposite.
Well, is it the opposite? Do I mean the opposite? Well, you
That
think
was quite good, that, actually, Mark.
that's not quite good for ska, man.
Go on, try again, Mark. What were you trying
Yeah,
to
so
say?
music I was playing in the 90s, a lot of it was easier because I had a smaller pool of music to pick from.
Yeah.
So of course, DJ now you have a wider choice
Yeah.
of music to pick from.
Yeah, but to caveat that, you've also got it's all on computer, isn't it? In terms of a lot of it is searchable. You had to literally get an LP out, didn't you? You had to
Oh.
know where to find
Yeah.
the one record that you wanted to play. Whereas now you just go, oh, what's it called? Summit. You type in the name and it'll give you all this.
Hang on, you're making it sound like my job's easy now.
No, I don't. No, I'm not. Because, like, as you were saying, the amount of choices there are to play now.
Yeah.
But back then, you'd not got any work out what to play. Where, like, you could look at a previous history of what you've played and gone,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I'll play that one. You were
Absolutely,
literally
yeah.
having to come up with it top of your head, know where to find it, get
Yeah.
it out, you
Yeah.
know.
It's completely different. Completely different.
I must admit, when Mark first started DJing stuff, he DJ'd on vinyl. And I remember watching him play a gig and stuff like that, and he'd go through his record boxes, and he'd just literally be just touching the fingertips of top of his vinyl and just like literally pulling them up like a fraction of an inch or whatever to try and find the song. I could never do it. I could never. Do you know what I mean? I'd look at these cases of vinyl and be like, how do you even begin to know where it is that you want to play it? And just watching him do it, just literally. And I suppose you'd have been the same, wouldn't you?
I would have been, yeah. I mean, I started DJing in 1988. That's when I first started, and I've DJed ever since.
I was 6.
Yeah.
So what about gaming consoles then? I mean, what was your first? What was your first like gaming computer? Let's say, what was your first computer?
Amstrad.
Amstrad.
Yeah.
I think my first one, it was a 128K Spectrum.
Spectrum.
Yeah.
Computer or games console?
Well, computer. Do computer first.
Computer. My first computer was a VIC-20, which was a lower down model from a Commodore 64.
Yeah,
So that was
I remember that.
Commodore 64 was my first computer.
And then after that, I got an Amiga.
I just want to put. I said I remember that. I don't remember it, but my auntie had one.
Can you remember? You plug it in into TV. You put the cassette in.
Yeah.
You press play, and you'd wait 20 minutes for it to load.
Yeah.
And you'd have all these squeaking, screeching noises and dodgy
And
lines on your
colourful
TV.
lines,
And you'd be sat there like that, waiting for about 20 minutes, and then you'd be absolutely elated when it loaded.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it crashed.
You'll say if it loaded. If it loaded.
Do you know what? Strangely, I never played a game on a computer. The only thing I did on the Amstrad, which now, come to think of it, I wish I'd stuck with it. I was coding.
Wow.
Rachel
Should have stuck with that in that.
Well,
business.
Rachel taught me the basics of coding. I would have been 10, and I on my Amstrad I wrote a program that I could say hello, and it would repeat hello, and it would say what's your name, and I would type in Rob, and it would say hello Rob, and it would go through this script.
Yeah.
And I wrote it all by code, and I just now. Hindsight, you think, mate,
Well,
10-year-old to have started
I used to buy
coding.
magazines from a shelf and they used to have coded in, and you used to type it in from thinking any slight thing that were wrong, it wouldn't do it right, and you'd get it to flash your name up in a colour or something, or bounce around the screen, things like that.
I mean, typically at that age, I didn't have the patience. I started to learn piano in 1992. I would have started to learn piano, and I'm very much practical, but my dad was always like, "You've got to sit down and do your arithmetic." That's lost Rob, Benny. That. That's lost Rob.
Can you remember when Track and Field came out?
Oh,
and you'd wear your
goodness.
thumb out, you'd wear your sleeve out on your jumper because you're rubbing it across the two buttons
Yeah.
to make it
Yeah,
run
to make
faster.
it sprint.
Or you'd end up with a blister on your thumb.
Well, I'm talking about track and field. I used to play it in arcade track and field before it went on Games Console. And you know the Kinder Egg plastic Kinder Egg things.
Yeah.
So in arcades, because I used to hang out with my mates, we used to use these Kinder Egg plastic things on your shell and rub them across buttons like that to run fast and to go backwards, to make yourself run. Instead of pressing buttons like left, right, you just rattle this Kinder Egg type thing, plastic, a technique that we used.
But how mind blowing was it when like they moved to like, for instance, the PlayStation? Like the PlayStation 1, the first PlayStation. And it was just mind blowing, wasn't it?
mind-blowing.
Like the graphics and stuff like I'm trying to think, what was that fighting it? Virtual Fighter?
Virtua Fighter, and then
Sonic the Hedgehog, weren't it?
No, or Mega Drive.
Mega Drive.
Mega
Sorry.
Drive.
Yeah, sorry.
But PlayStation, I think Demolition Derby, I can remember that for PlayStation.
Destruction Derby.
Yeah, Destruction Derby, that's it. And it is baffling, I mean, because you look at it now, I mean, like VR and, VR with how immersive it is, and then the flip side to you play a game, playing Spider-Man 2 on the PS5 and it's just like watching a film. It's just incredible.
Is it good? I've only played number 1.
Unbelievable, absolutely incredible. It is just like watching a film.
Wow.
But when you compare it back to, like you were saying earlier, Mark, sat waiting 20 minutes for a game to load. Sometimes they had to build in a mini game into it to keep you interested while you're waiting for the game to load.
I've got something that from the 90s that I'm sure we must all have been to, but now is not around anymore.
Can we guess what you're going to say?
Go on.
Are you going to say Blockbuster?
Nope.
Are you going to say Pizza Hut?
Nope.
I know they're still there, but they were a thing back then.
Nope. Somewhere that somewhere that you may have been that doesn't exist anymore.
So where we've been, but don't exist anymore. Oh, is it a shop?
Nope.
It's like 20 questions, isn't it?
Is it an experience?
Yep.
I've got
Laser Quest.
Nope.
I knew he was going to say it. Well, I
Laser
thought
Quest.
that was
That's
going to
a
be,
good
but
shout.
they do exist.
Yeah.
You can still go. Somewhere where
Quest,
you would go in the 90s.
The type of thing exists, but this particular one doesn't exist anymore.
Just tell us.
American Adventure.
Oh, the missile.
Yeah, the
never
missile.
went.
I remember.
never
I
went.
passed out on
Didn't
that.
you?
I never went.
I
You
passed
passed out on it?
Yeah.
Did you?
Did you? Yeah. It was a roller coaster.
Missile was brilliant. It was a.
It did a loop the loop. Didn't
Yeah,
it?
it was
I
a.
passed out.
It wasn't even
Hang
by
on.
today's standards. You wouldn't even call it a roller coaster. It was very much 2D. It was. It was
I've
like
got
a
some
line.
questions for Mark.
Yeah.
After.
But
Carry on.
it went reversed up a big incline, and then came down. Did
Loop.
two loop to loops. Got to the end, and then
Back.
went back, but then went backwards.
Yeah.
Back through the same thing and stopped.
And they used to do like the stunt show, didn't they? Where the cowboys,
The cowboys.
in the saloons, and they'd be on the roofs, and they'd shoot each other.
Yeah.
And they'd, like proper stuntmen, they'd fall off the roof into a basket of.
And last I
straw
checked,
and-
it still exists. You can go on, and it's these creep.
I don't. What American Adventure?
Yeah, it's not open.
No, it's
but
not
if you go
open.
on Google Maps,
Yes.
the ride's still intact.
Oh, is it like
Everything's
derelict?
derelict. Everything's still there.
Are you sure?
Well, I'm just saying. The last time I looked, now
Oh, okay.
I can honestly say the last time I looked was at least 10 years ago, on Google Maps. Maybe 8 years ago. But yeah, it was still there.
Well, okay, I'm be hard to believe it's still there, but
You said you got some questions for Mark.
so this roller coaster thing you passed out on.
Yes.
So did you go on of your own free will? Do you be like, oh, I'll go on that?
forced onto
Or
it.
were you
No,
forced
I was,
onto it?
I was
What-
kidnapped, taken to Derby.
No, but what I mean is, were you like, no, I don't want to go on. Oh, come on, Dad,
it
or
was
whatever.
Derby. It was
Or,
somewhere
you-
like that,
you-
I think, where it
or
was.
did you just go? Yeah, it's great. I can go on that, and then pass out. What were you?
I think I just overcome with. Yeah, I went on it. I went with a school friend, and yeah.
And also, I mean, I've never been on this roller coaster. So is it?
You've never going on it. You never.
Is it a
disclosed.
white proper? Well, was it a proper white knuckle thing or what?
Well, it would have
Compared
been
to some.
by my standards then in the 90s, very early 90s, but it's nothing compared to the roller coasters I've been on now, and they don't bother me anymore. I'm quite comfortable.
Oh, you've had.
So I think it was just the initial probably adrenaline of like, this is just overwhelming, and yeah.
2 questions, Mark. So one, were you drunk?
No, I was very young still.
Until you've answered my question, because I'm going to say, have you been on any since? And you have.
I think the biggest thing that I remember in the 90s, though, that is a massive difference to now, is just how kids used to just knock around together,
Yeah.
and how you just used to, go and call for someone, knock on the door, go, are they coming out?
Are they coming out to play?
Yeah.
Sort of thing, and then
That
and you
don't
just
happen
and
now,
you just
does
go
it?
out. You just go out. You wouldn't have to do anything. You wouldn't have to be. There's no plans or
There was
whatever.
no expectation either,
No,
was there?
you just go out.
You wouldn't answer the door to your mate and go, "What do you want?" As in, why are you here?
Just be outside in the rain.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just playing out.
Yeah, I remember those days. Yeah, it were good.
Boys, just to because I know you won't sleep if I don't tell you this,
Right.
but the crisp conundrum.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Do you know
Oh,
why?
yeah. I know why.
Have you been on the blower to
Yeah, I have.
Walkers?
I
Have you
ran
phoned them?
Walkers.
Yeah.
And Mr. Walker said that it's because their production week starts on a Saturday.
Oh,
Sorry,
you go.
no, Sunday. I got it wrong.
I saw some, so they expect.
Yeah, it starts on a Sunday, so it expires on a Saturday,
And-
and everything that's produced in that week gets the same best before date.
Oh, right, okay, right.
So it makes no sense whatsoever.
Not really.
Because surely their production, you said that, I mean, I'm asking you these questions if you know, but surely their production doesn't start on a Saturday and go, right, because do they then stop on a Sunday?
Well,
So
they'll do a batch, won't they? They'll do a batch run that week, and
Yeah.
that
Yeah, but-
batch is their batch, and then
What, it takes a week to make a bag
I
of
reckon
crisps?
it's the printer.
packet.
I reckon the printer for the week is stuck on one date. And he just goes, that day. And then the next week they go, right, we need to change it to the following Saturday. And it's just that day for the whole week. And it's even changing
The Walker's statement says, Walkers itself admit that it's true, its best before date always falls on a Saturdays.
Whoa, see?
Because its production week starts on a Sunday. In a post on its website, the company explains, with everything made that week having the same best before date.
Time at the bar, please.
well, it's certainly educational, this podcast, if nothing else, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And actually, guys, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to all our listeners. I know it sounds a bit mushy, and I know that it's, going... yeah, very much so. But do you know what? We started this back
I thought
in...
you were going to Twilight Zone for a second then, Rob.
It feels like it when we're recording these. But do you know what, guys? We started this back in December. We decided we were going to do it just for something, a bit of a laugh and a bit of getting together and doing something creative. And I must say that I think it shocked us all a little bit, hasn't it, about how well it's been received.
Absolutely is blown away by them.
And I just want to say, as I know we all do, and thank you very much for listening. It absolutely means the world to us that we can create this and that people are out there talking about it, and the phone calls we get and the messages that we get. But please do us a favour. If you are listening to it, if you are enjoying it, please hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to. It really does help, and it really does make a difference to us. It really, you want to support us, that's how you do it. Leave us a comment or review if you can, but make sure you hit that subscribe button.
And on that beautiful note, it's been a pleasure.
It has.
Really
We'll
has.
catch you all next week.
See you next week.
Take care, guys.
Ta-ra,
Thank you.
boys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Do you have a dilemma? Maybe a burning question you're longing to be answered? Or you just want to get in touch with us? Why not drop us a voice note or a message over email at innthechat@gmail.com. That's 2 N's, not 1 N, because 1 N, it doesn't matter. innthechat@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you.